Stanza Sato Samaya, Mano Balaya, Banza Sato Tenoba, Dedo Membawa, Soto Kayo Memba, Sugo Kayo Membawa, Anora Do Membawa, Sarwa Sede, Mepraya, Sarwa Krma, Sudam, Zeta, Shreya, Guru, Hum, Ha, Ho, Baba, Wana, Sarwa, Dada. Mandra Mano Munzam Banzambawa Ma Samaya Sato Ah. Okay. Now we come to verse 11, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. If like a living fish that twists and writhes, you are so terrified while still alive. This means in the samsara, just look at the fish when it's took out from the water, throw in the hot sand, how much the fish will suffer. And we do that deliberately, without concerning the fish suffering. We enjoy the sight, the frustration of the fish, because we don't see, we don't have a wisdom to understand the frustration and the suffering of the fish. It comes to us. Just look at, imagine. So we have like that lot in the world, in the samsara. Especially, you see, during this pandemic, everywhere. There's a lot of fear about the economic. There are a lot of fear about the life. Individual citizens and the leader of the country, there's so much concern about things, how I can handle these things. In our daily life, we have so much. Just look at some business people who have danger in their business, how much fear they have. They can't get good sleep. They cannot enjoy the food. It's like a fish on this hot sand, See, look at that, you see. So you are so terrified while still we're alive, doing this life. And with that, due to lack of the wisdom of understanding the causality, virtue and non-virtue, and we accumulate more non-virtue than the virtue. So that becomes the cause to suffer further in the future. So what need to speak of pain unbearable in the health created by past evil deeds, you see. No need to mention about that. It's not a belief system, it's the reality check. Look at the karma, what we are creating. So we have to be very mindful about the karma we are creating. That's the cause of the suffering. When we suffer, we cannot do so much, only suffer. Then depend on our Dharma practice. If any individual who has no Dharma practice, then suffering is so real, is so torturing. but as mentioned, cannot do so much. If there's Dharma practitioners, suffering is there, but has more wisdom how to handle the suffering, has more wisdom to see the nature of the samsara. And that gives such opportunity to practice the Dharma. You see? So that's why our Dharma study practice is so crucial. So we have to remind ourselves, no, these suffering are not just a suffering. No, of course there are suffering, but for Dharma practitioners, it's a great opportunity. No, a Dharma practitioner, we don't expect everything will be perfect. No, but if a powerful Dharma practitioner, more unfortunate condition faces, has greater way how to develop the bodhicitta. Now wisdom, seeing everything as just a manifestation, a reflection, or a reflection of our karma. So that's what is here creating, no? What need to speak of pain unbearable in hell created by past evil deeds. When individuals born in the hell realm, as mentioned, not necessarily there's some special place to go, but wherever we are, when there's such a excruciating suffering, pain, then there's that kind of sufferings there. It's like a hell realm. So nowadays, many places are like hell realm or hungry ghosts, you see. So we should remind ourselves, Dharma practice. As I mentioned, it's not enough to say, I understood. No, of course, understanding is very important in the first place. But once we understood, then put into practice in our daily life. Sometimes we are so much, once you understood, you are ready to share with others. So this is what about practice, this is, it's a good idea. But first, we should inspire ourselves to practice Dharma, digest the wisdom within us. So that's and number 12 is, how can you remain at ease like this when you have done the deeds that lead to contact on your tender baby flesh of boiling liquid in the hell of extreme heat? See? So this is just preparing. If one is born in the hell realm, and then and when you contact your tender baby flesh, our skin is so soft and gentle, and if it is contacted by the boiling liquid, boiling liquid of the in the hell realm, the liquid of this is it's called the iron or metal. Yes, the metal can burn liquid. If it is touched to the soft skin, how much suffering is there? So in the hell realm, individuals have that kind of suffering. So we should reflect on this. And I cannot bear this. So because this, I must practice Dharma. So remind repeatedly again and again. So as I mentioned before, these are not to threat you. Sometimes you may think, oh, Buddhists are just threatening us. talking about the hell realm and hell realm, No, it is not threatening. It's Dharma practice, to practice more strongly, more rigorously, so that our mind will be infused by the Dharma practice. So it is, you see, as I mentioned, our pernicious mental afflictions are difficult to handle. They're so strong. We are enslaved by them without choice. We suffer because of these mental afflictions. So to free from that, we need a precious perseverance, diligence. We need such a powerful diligence. So we need to remind ourselves repeatedly, especially now in this time, Dharma is more important than ever before. Look at this wisdom. Basically, looking at the suffering of samsara, Dharma is always peace, joy. We start Dharma from the beginning, right from the beginning, with the peace. So when you take refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha, say don't harm others, means don't harm yourself and others. So that starts the peace, non-violence. Then through that, when you achieve Dharmakaya, Buddhahood, Dharmakaya, is the total peace. So all our mental afflictions are the only violence. Our ignorance is the root of all the violence. And then and manifestation from that ignorance, the aversion, attachment, pride, jealousy, they are nothing but violence, brings the suffering, especially inside the mind. So Dharma is the only method how to heal that kind of mental chronic sickness. See, so then number 13. Now here is a so testy and thin-skinned. I think it's a special expression. You want result without endure. Many are the troubles now in store for you. See, though in the grief of death you are behaving like a god, and suffering, alas, will beat you down. This is what you see. Sometimes without much effort. So can you give me such instruction to achieve enlightenment in one lifetime? You see, it's the easy way how to achieve enlightenment. Can you give me the fastest way to free from samsara? We have a lot of questions about these things, you see, without practical understanding. So this is a very important point, See, without, see, yes, it's mentioned here, so testy and thin-skinned. Very easy to hurt. Then you want result without endeavors, without effort, without creating the cause. Like say now, sometimes in Tibetan, they have also that kind of say, students, those who are going, students, high class, so college students, high class, the college, high class students, without studying so much, then during the examination, they go to a great teacher asking, please give me some blessing so that I can pass my examination. Can you blow blessing to this my pen that I will use during my examination? So they're expecting that the teacher, the Lama, will give you such a miracle power that you passed your examination without effort. So you see, Buddha cannot do this, Buddha taught how to accumulate the cause, how to create the right cause, to avoid the wrong cause. So we have to make all the effort. So don't expect through this small meditation, a little meditation, a big result, enlightenment, See, this is just as I mentioned, very clear, example how Milarepa did it. Marba did not give him a miracle power to enlightenment without effort, but Marba taught all the teachings, complete teachings to Milarepa. So now you just practice them. Go to the mountain, stay there, So then Milarepa did it. And he did it such a successfully. But when you look at the Milarepa's life story, it looks very painful, awful. So how anybody can handle that? But for Milarepa, it's such a great joy, He can live without food because he feels so privileged. Because sometimes when some people meet him, he said, I have the best precious human life. I met Marpa, received all those precious teachings. I'm the most fortunate person. See, he has that kind of mentality. That's why he can endure all this joyfully. But on the other hand, his sister said, I haven't seen any kind of Dharma practitioner like you, without food, without clothes, So this, I cannot really accept this. Milarepa said, you go away, Let me enjoy my life. See, let me enjoy the teachings that I received from Marba. So that's why Milarepa made history. So we should see this. Otherwise, sometimes we say, as I mentioned, so can you give me some instruction how to achieve, enlightenment faster? We all wish that, Even I myself, I wish I have such a, achieve enlightenment without much effort. But my mental, the habit of the samsara is so powerful, strong. I have to have such a strong determination to handle that. It takes the energy, determination, mindfulness. So always, it's not just a Buddhist. We should see this. It's universal, reality and nature. Who makes such a heinous action brings the suffering. It's very clear. Now who does wonderful job helping others, people appreciate, rejoice. It's universal. So here Buddha's teaching. especially as mentioned, Dharma is such a precious medicine which heals our mental, chronic disease. The mind can heal only by the bodhicitta, the realization of the emptiness. So precious, you see. So that is how it's saying here. Many are trouble now in store for you. Though in the grief of death you are behaving like a god. Means in the human realm, just look at it in our human life. Human life is much better, much better off than like animals. Or also in human life, relative, we who have a place to live, good food to eat, good conditions, we have good friends who are supporting, we are living like the God realm. Even though the suffering is next to there. So say, be careful. Says, no, be careful about it. Behaving like a God means, it's in the God realm. You see, there are five sides of the signs, 5 signs of the death in the desire in the God realm, Dushita, God realm. You see, then those individuals in the God realm, they have such a great joy, happiness. Whole day they feel like 1 minute. They pass. Such a great joy. But at the time of death, then there's a sign comes. So you'll die, you'll fall down. So like that in our human life, that especially we who have good conditions, we have to be very careful. Watch. You appreciate what you have. You rejoice what you have. And we should content with that and practice Dharma, bodhicitta. You see, you say no, and suffering, alas, will beat you down. You see, otherwise, there will be much more suffering down there waiting for us. If we too much indulge the samsaric light and enjoy happiness of samsaric, we create such a mess of the cause of suffering. So we should be very careful about this. No. So previous life, next life, rebirth. So Buddhists believe rebirth is not a belief system. If one has the wisdom to see it, it's reality. Everybody, they are reborn, they die. Sometimes, as you know, so Buddhists believe rebirth, Buddhists believe karma. Now you know, karma is not a belief system. It's reality. We are living in such a sphere of the causality. We are living in such a condition in the dimension of the cause and result. See, every second we're in the dimension of the causality. Every second we're creating such karma, and every second we're experiencing the result. It's not just something from previous life, this life, next life. Every second we're under the dimension of the karma, causality. This is very important. Then, now next is, this is very easy to understand, you see, now. So now all this, having said all these things, under such kind of condition we are there, get out of your laziness. No, don't attach to samsaric life. No, you appreciate, you rejoice, you're content, then follow the Dharma practice. So now, so take advantage of this human boat. Free yourself from sorrow, sorrow's mighty stream. This vessel will be later hard to find. The time that you have now, you fool, is not for sleep. See. Now we should have more appreciation this precious human life. You see. Without knowing anything, if you talk about the precious human life, then you feel, what's the precious human life? There's some people who have precious, their human life, enjoy life so much. Why not they have the precious human life? Where I should be appreciate my life, precious human life, you know. So those who have precious Dharma teachings, with this human life, you got opportunity to take refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha. You got opportunity to study Dharma teachings, especially to cultivate bodhicitta and practicing the 6 paramitas, especially practice the emptiness. So all this related. So who got all these opportunities? It's called precious. No, it's called precious human life. You see, it's because the reason we all desire for peace and happiness, and this will make us how to free from the suffering and how to achieve enlightenment. That's called precious human life. Now you see, we can appreciate more for the precious human life. See, there are some individuals in the world, they are so rich, but they don't know how to appreciate. They don't know how to free from samsara. No. They only indulge this life. No. But we, no, precious human life. See, in the jewel ornament of liberation mentioned, the primary cause is Buddha nature. No. The human life is the best basis, foundation to practice Dharma. See. So that's why I say take advantage. Don't waste it. The boat here saying, like the boat can cross the river. So with this precious human life can cross the river of samsara and go other side of the samsara, enlightenment. So, so free yourself from sorrows means free from samsara. So sorrow's mighty stream is the great river of the birth, aging, sickness, and death. So please understand this, you see, the human life, not human life, the body, so the body is the basis of the suffering. So we have to free from that kind of suffering through the wisdom and compassion. See? This vessel will be later hard to find. So this precious human life may be not so easy to achieve because it requires many causes and conditions to achieve the precious human life. So this vessel, this body, this boat is not that easy to achieve. So once we have it, we should utilize in the best way. See. So the time that you have now, so now precious human life we have now. So you fool means don't fool yourself. Don't stay under the control of the mental afflictions. So it's not time. Here's he's saying, it's not for sleep means it's not just enjoy the life, but utilize the life for the best purpose, for the enlightenment. Because our focus should be the enlightenment. Our optimal objective of the Dharma practice is enlightenment, Buddhahood. So we always focus on that. Then it doesn't matter whether it's achieved this life, next life, many other lifetimes, doesn't matter. But if we practice that way, then all the practices we have done would be for that purpose, would be the cause for that. So this is such a precious, many great teachers, they will quote this quotation. Then next said, the verse 15 said, you turn your back upon the secret doctrine, supreme joy and boundless source of bliss, wide delight in mere excitement, in distraction that will cause you miseries. See? So basically saying, there are so many, cause for the enjoyment. It's a supreme joy and it's a boundless source of bliss. Nowadays, in the modern time, there are so many places to go, like Disneyland, museum. There's so many places, to the beach, to the mountain. But these all are just a part of samsara. See? The supreme cause of the enjoyment is the Dharma. So Dharma is the path, a cause to achieve the total joy, complete Buddhahood. So where you are so, indulge in the cause of suffering, you say, so you turn back, you turn back upon the secret Dharma, supreme joy. This Dharma is the supreme joy and the boundless source of bliss. So why delight in the mere excitement in the samsara, as mentioned those, when you go to, I went, Disneyland, Disney World, so many things to see, a lot of excitements. So you can spend your whole day there. But that will not help me to practice Dharma. So he's saying, in distraction, that will cause you misery. That distraction attachment to this excitement, I forget my practice of bodhicitta. I forget the renunciation of the samsara. So here, renounce samsara does not mean don't eat food, wear clothes. Means samsara is not the right place to stay all the time. It's the place of suffering. So that's why I say renounce the samsara. In other words, all the mental afflictions that we have to renounce. No? Renounce all the mental afflictions. Look at the mind. When any mental affliction manifests, it makes our life restless. No? There's no real peace and happiness. That mental affliction takes our attention to that direction, and it gives us suffering. No? Whereas when the mental afflictions not exist there, we are total peace, happiness, you see, even in the relative state, even in the samsara. When these mental afflictions slow down, no? So you see, if these mental afflictions are totally uprooted, imagine how great peace, happiness will be there. So look at these, say, don't be so excited. The samsaric enjoyment, what it's saying here. If we don't have Dharma teachings, then of course no choice. People go around, they enjoy those excitement. They say, oh, life is just so exciting. No, life has so much excitement. I enjoy that, this, went there, saw this, I enjoyed that and this, you know. So without Dharma, yes, those people enjoy those. Non-Dharma practitioners who has these precious Dharma teachings, so use your decisive wisdom. Now get an incisive understanding. Then don't attach to the samsaric excitement. Rather enjoy Dharma teachings. If we enjoy Dharma teachings, bodhicitta is good now, good in the future, and good ultimately. So there's no side effect. So we say, look at this and practice that way. So he said. Then next verse 16, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Do not be downcast, but marshal all your powers. Make an effort. Be the master of yourself. Practice the quality of self and others. No, practice the equality, Practice the equality of self and others. Practice the exchange of self and others. So this is such a beautiful practice, you see. Oh, now, in Tibet, do not be downcast. So you should not be, say, I cannot do, or this is not for me, no. So don't look down to yourself. Build courage, see, no. Then say, no, so, but marshal all your powers. You just prepare yourself, strength, as earlier mentioned, an indomitable courage. Build that. See, Nancy, make an effort. Be the master of yourself. So I can do it. No. So I have precious human life. I have Buddha nature. I have this Buddha's teaching, bodhicitta. I understand the nature of the emptiness. So now I can do it. So build courage yourself. Don't look down to yourself. You see, these are such important. Then practice bodhicitta, as you mentioned, Bodhicharyavatra. The theme of this subject is practice of bodhicitta. As I want peace and happiness, every sentient beings, they want peace and happiness. We're equal. We're equally have the right to have peace and happiness. As I don't want suffering, everybody doesn't want suffering. We're all equal. See that based on loving kindness, compassion. So that's the Buddha's teaching. As earlier mentioned, everyone has love and compassion, no? More or less. Some has more and some has less. But everyone is endowed bodhicitta. That's the potential. That's the primary cause we to cultivate infinite love and compassion to all sentient beings, those who support, those who hate. Doesn't matter. We just develop within us. We should start from there, So that's what's called this equal, you see, practice the equality of oneself and others. Then next, exchange, you see. Exchange here means, basically we should understand this. When I'm suffering, say, physically or mentally, I'm suffering. Bodhicitta that we are practicing, my suffering be sufficient to purify all the suffering of the sentient beings, you see. So you are taking advantage, you are suffering. Not just I'm suffering like that, but you are taking advantage, you are suffering to purify all the sentient beings' suffering. Whether or not sentient beings, their suffering is purified, but at least your suffering, your obscuration is purified. You are extending your bodhicitta to all sentient beings to get benefit, you see. This is a training of our own mind. This is very important, you see. And then Buddhists are those who are highly developed, great developed. Then you see, you can give your happiness to others. You have no fear. And when you developed your bodhicitta, endowed with the realization of emptiness, then you can take other suffering to you, because in the emptiness, suffering cannot affect so much. It's called exchanging yourself in others, you see. So there's some steps you take, you see. At first, we may not have the ability to take other suffering onto you. Even we cannot handle our own suffering. In such condition, what we should do, So I have a suffering which I have no choice. In such that time, my suffering that I have enough ability to purify all the suffering of sentient beings. And my thing just meditate, my suffering become a very kind of it's a very it's called it brought such a benefit that I can practice bodhicitta using my suffering as to extend my mind to all sentient beings, to free all sentient beings from the suffering. So that my suffering has enough ability to purify the suffering of all sentient beings. And then you just develop the mind that everybody has happiness, free from suffering, and swiftly attain Buddhahood, and you just meditate. Everyone, including those who hate you, those who create obstacles to you, you meditate on this. See? This here the practice is about. See? And then you just rejoice this practice. Feel fortunate. I have this bodhicitta practice. So bodhicitta, as mentioned, is the highway towards enlightenment. So because that Buddha is the perfection of the bodhicitta, it's a universal thought. It's a cause to achieve perfect peace and happiness. It's not just a Buddhist, but Buddha taught this method as a cause, a direct cause to achieve the enlightenment. So that's why we have every reason to feel fortunate. No? And also this is a direct cause to reveal our Buddha nature. So we know everything constitutes causality. No? The causality of the universe is called interdependent. So this is what is interdependence about. To attain Buddhahood depends on the practice of bodhicitta. Okay. Then, okay. 17, now, number 17 is it's very encouraging. See, said, oh, but how could I become enlightened? Don't excuse like that. Said, don't excuse yourself with such despondency. The Buddha who declared the truth has truly spoken and proclaimed, you see. Sometimes, bodhicitta is very difficult. My mind is very small mind. Even I cannot help myself. How I can help all sentient beings? This is not practical thing, you know. It's just, another mirage, So sometimes we may have that. So don't kind of discourage yourself. You have to develop great courage. As earlier mentioned, first we have the precious human life. Then we understand Buddha's teaching is so precious. As I mentioned, Buddha didn't teach, you should believe this, you should believe me, and I will do everything for you. But Buddha said, no, how samsara is constituted. And I'll taught you these teachings. You know, the Four Noble Truths, the suffering of the truth of the cause of suffering, and the cessation of this suffering, nirvana, and path to the cessation. So I teach you these all complete, samsara and nirvana. Now you follow the path and you can do it. Don't look down to yourself. Be happy yourself. Rejoice yourself. See, so as says, oh, but how could I become enlightened? This is to get out of the laziness looking down to oneself. That you see, don't excuse yourself with such despondency. How you can look down to yourself. So Buddha who taught the Dharma teachings, the Buddha who declared the truth, you see, Buddha always speaks the truth. Buddha has no any reason to deceive sentient beings. Buddha is free from all the suffering. There's no reason Buddha to deceive other sentient beings. No. So always spoke in the truth. That's what's called Four Noble Truths. So has truly spoken and proclaimed, As you see, as I mentioned, Buddha has a long history, our Buddhist has a long history from Buddha to now. Between there, so many great teachers came who examined, who investigated, who went through all these steps. They all admired Buddha's teaching. They took refuge in the Buddha. How many great sentient beings got benefit from this? Because Buddha always spoke the truth, reality, nature. And that's reality, nature. It's called mode of abiding. How everything is constituted within the uncontrived nature. So uncontrived nature means the virtue brings the happiness. The non-virtue brings the suffering. It's uncontrived. It's mode of abiding. How this all causes and condition constitutes the samsara. Look at, you see, it's very clear. There are, who self-aggrandized, which self is not exist, but when you're so much involved that, how much suffering is there for yourself and others. So we need to purify those. Everything constitutes in the causality, interdependence. Whole our life is in the relative state. That's why it's the relativity, this scientist theory of the relativities became so popular because it makes sense. It touches the reality nature. So look at this. Now we meditate. So Buddha, who has truly spoken and proclaimed, what he proclaimed here, you see, number 18, look at this, no? He said that if they bring forth strength of perseverance, diligence, who are they? Even bees, flies, you see, even bees, like say mosquitoes, you say, and gnats and grubs. So these small insects, tiny, tiny insects, which are so insignificant, you know, for them, the enlightenment is like impossible. But even they make the perseverance, diligence. These bees, flies, gnats, and grubs will gain supreme enlightenment. So hard to find. So for them, enlightenment is not easy. Very difficult. In first place, they have no any idea what's right or wrong. They have no idea where they are. No. But if they make effort, enlightenment is possible. So now, so go to the number 19, see that what it makes sense, you see. Is why, Buddha said this, see, and if by birth and the lineage of humankind, I am able to distinguish good from ill and do not leave aside the Bodhisattva's deeds, why should I not attain the state of Buddhahood, you see? So this is the reason. So they're saying, I'm born as in the human lineage, and the humankind means I have the precious human life. As earlier I mentioned, I got opportunity to take the refuge in the Buddha. No. Well, see, we have the 8 favorable conditions and 10 endowments. We have these 18 conditions or positive qualities which makes the precious human life. See, so because of this, so I can distinguish, means I can understand. It makes sense, virtue and non-virtue. Here, good from ill means virtue and non-virtue. So, 10 virtue, 10 non-virtue. It makes sense, bodhicitta. I understand the point of loving kindness and compassion. See, I understand, or it makes sense about the emptiness nature. See, so with such kind of condition, see, and do not leave this aside. So if I don't leave aside the Bodhisattva's path, saying that, Bodhisattva path is so difficult, I cannot practice Bodhisattvas or Bodhicitta mind, the mind of the enlightenment, if I don't live that. If I carry on practice of Bodhicitta, why should I not achieve the Buddhahood? Definitely. So what is referring is we have the Buddha nature. Since we have the Buddha nature, if we practice the bodhicitta, why not we can achieve the Buddhahood? So she encourage ourselves. As I mentioned, Milarepa, who practiced this so joyfully, with such kind of privilege. He saw Marpa as the Buddha who taught him these all teachings. And he could not waste even 1 second and practice that. So he made the history, achieved the Buddhahood. So why not we also, if we make effort, we will achieve something, get some benefit. So everyone, we all should aspire, follow this. I'm not a mosquito. I'm not a small insect. I'm not like this kind of who knows nothing. I know these things. And I know the nature of the samsara, suffering. And sentient beings are desperate. They're desperate to free from suffering. They're suffering so much. So I must practice bodhicitta and follow that. So it's a journey of the 24 hours. It's not just a 3-year retreat or 5 years retreat. It's lifelong dedication. Follow the path step by step. Meditate on that, practice. We can make the difference. We can help this whole world, sentient beings. These messages are so important. Not just be a kind, of course it's good, be kind, chant few mantras, say some prayers. It's good. But these courage, wisdom, so no practice of this, as I mentioned, 6, these are all related to 6 parameters. Especially this diligence, this perseverance is the direct cause to perfect all the rest of the 6 parameters. In the Madhyamika by Chandra Kirti said, all the qualities of the Buddha follows the diligence, the perseverance. The perseverance, diligence is the direct cause for the perfection of the merit and wisdom. So you see, so we have no time to waste, but we practice the Dharma teachings. In other words, to become a better human being, a human being who has more resource for peace and happiness, which can bring peace in the society, in the whole world. So this is the way how we should practice the Dharma teachings. So I think today we have done well. We finished the verse 19. If anybody has any questions.
Khenchen, I have one question.
Okay.
The Buddha actually said, even insects, if they have perseverance, could progress along the path. But can you
Yes.
really like some example of that? It's hard for me to even understand how that's possible without any intelligence.
There's a, Jakarta.
Yes.
In the Jakarta, there's a story. There was a group of honeybee. They collected honey so much, and then from the village, somebody came, took all the honey, and they moved to another place and collected the honey for some time. And again, somebody came and took all the honey, So the honey bee said, now see, this is what we're doing, our life is about. Because of, the honey bee said, because of the lack of our 10 virtue, we are born in the animal life. Now, no matter how much you collect these things, we cannot achieve real peace and happiness. Now, from today, the king, the queen of the honeybee said to all the bees, from today, we should take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha and follow towards the enlightenment. So then, step by step, finally, they attained enlightenment.
So this queen bee was like the Buddha in the past?
That's as a Bodhisattva, yes.
Yes.
A Bodhisattva was born in the group of the honeybees, yes, as a leader.
So even in the animal realm, the insect realm, the Buddha manifests in some forms.
Oh, yes, yes.
To benefit, even without much intelligence, these bees have some
yes,
benefit.
Exactly. There's some, there's some. There also there's a history. There in the past, 500 horses. So there one horse was it's called intelligent horse. On that intelligent horse helped all the 500 horses to reborn in the higher realm.
Thank you. Interesting.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. Recently, I was away from Stockholm a few weeks, and I was visiting. First, I was in a very spiritual place, very lovely and beautiful and kind. And then I came to a very good friend from India, and her son has a somewhat brain deficiency, ADHD, and using a lot of drugs. And I was suffering so extremely in his presence. Because he was very aggressive and very rude and very ugly and etc. etc. And I escaped after a few days because I couldn't be there. It was
You couldn't handle that.
I escaped. Yeah, I took a train earlier.
Okay.
But I could feel.
That's where?
It's a little bit south in Sweden.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it was lingering, these states, the anger was in me. I was feel so angry, humiliated and so forth by him. And it continued. Now I could feel it subdued around you here. I could feel like, some peace coming to this mind stream that somehow opened in me by just being close to such low vibrations. So how could I use it constructively? How could I, if this happens again, how could I work with it in a constructive way and not go down. Like it's often it happens. I get affected by people very much because I'm so sensitive. How can I protect myself, and how could I deal with it? And should I avoid all these situations, or thank you. Any good ideas?
Yes, there's a lot of things, yes. First of all, you see, as mentioned here, the books, not only here, when you read Jewel Ornament of Liberation, there's all those things there, you know. There's individuals in the world suffering so much, you see. And their mind is fully occupied with these all delusions and have no space now for wisdom to see this. The suffering is so immense. So look at that. This is an example of the samsara, entire realm. No? So you just develop that kind of wisdom to see all. And then so right now I don't have enough ability to help these beings. I'm so limited. So I can see these sensitivities that I have, which means I am so limited. So now I must practice bodhicitta, father, develop, so that one day I can help all these beings. You see? Reflect on these things instead of running away, you know?
Well, I had to. Yeah, I could see after your teaching today that I got very many good ideas, but I wanted to bring up this subject anyway to hear your kind explanation.
Yes.
Your kindness, because it was so, I don't know why I experienced so much suffering around
Yes.
some people. It's really so painful, like, and it tear my happiness down, you know. Then I'm spinning around in lower vibrations. So I don't know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes, it's the samsara is crazy, you know. So realize how samsara is crazy, you know.
But then maybe I think maybe it's some old karma that I had to see, because normally I am not in this.
You appreciate that, okay?
Yeah, I'm happy not to be there, you know.
Yeah, since you are there, I mean, you have been there, yes, and no other choice. So say, oh, this is why I'm here, end up. So now instead of escaping from this, I should take some advantage, you know, and remind your bodhicitta practice. So just as I mentioned, how limited of my practice of bodhicitta. Oh, I better practice more now. I'm getting old, so not much time left. While I'm alive, I must focus. No time to waste.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, you have really inspired me today. I'm most grateful. Yes. And I feel like my home is paradise. You know, it's like coming to, I just have been going around for 2 days and saying, oh, this is paradise. This is paradise. I'm in paradise. So of course, normally I don't think so. It's just my ordinary home. But now after this other vibrations that I felt, this is it's paradise to be.
Yeah,
told.
yes, in the text mentioned, sometimes you're in the paradise, sometimes you're in the hell realm, So your paradise is not a permanent.
No.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm most grateful to you that you appear from the higher Bodhisattva realms to spread some light upon our minds.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Now first, please take a deep breath. Inhale fully and exhale. Just relax. Make your mind like the space, freedom. Make the mind such no boundary. So that itself, you see, when the mind is like a space, pervading all the space, is bodhicitta. When you make that mind as a fresh, that's emptiness, you see. So that fresh mind has no mental afflictions. In the absence of the mental afflictions, that itself is emptiness. How peaceful that is. See? This is how to rest the mind. Then please reflect today's teachings from the beginning. How important the diligence or the perseverance and the division of the perseverance or diligence. And then how much we are trapped in the laziness in the many different ways in the samsara. Every day our life is trapped in the laziness. Sometimes we become so busy. Sometimes we indulge. So look at this. No. So to overcome this, we need to look at the freshness of the Dharma teachings. And dedicate our life to practice Dharma. Now then please say some dedication prayers. Yeah, Anne?
So, by this merit, having attained omniscience and defeated the enemy of wrongdoing, may I free all beings from the ocean of existence, with its tumultuous waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Just as the heroic Manjushri who knows everything as it is, and as Samantabhadra likewise did too, just so to follow all of them and train myself, I perfectly dedicate these meritorious actions. May the precious Supreme Bodhicitta arise in those in whom it has not arisen. Having arisen, may it not diminish, but ever expand more and more. As long as space remains, and as long as the world remains, may I too remain to elevate the suffering of the world.